Dueling Dialogues is brought to you by our affiliates at IX Web Hosting. Click the banner on the rightleftchronicles.com to get up to 40% off your first year of the best hosting on the planet. Today's episode of Dueling Dialogue is brought to you by Saucy Eva. GMA's marinade is coming soon to a plate near you to gourmetize your meats and proteins. Coming to you from that once-forgotten artery that pulses through the center of the continental United States and into the heart of the Ozarks, Grace Matthews. Looking in from the northern border, our Canadian friend, along with his countrymen feeling the effects of U.S. political issues, Connor Murphy.
Welcome to Dueling Dialogues, episode 71. I'm Connor Murphy here with Grace Matthews, and we're joined in the studio today by celebrity stylist David Blackstock and the beautiful and talented Gennifer Flowers. Hi, crew.
Hey.
Hello, how are you?
Hello. How are you?
Oh, we're doing good. I'm not in the same studio. I don't have the visual clue, so I'm just going to let you guys talk.
So I wore this low-cut dress just for you, and you're not here to see it.
No.
Grace, you should have told me. See?
I should have,
because it's
but
wasted on her.
I didn't
and
want
David.
to burst your bubble.
And David.
Okay, well, we're very excited to have David Blackstock here with us.
Thank you.
I guess we'll just get started. My dad always reminded me that we all come into this world naked and vulnerable. What happens to us next is really just the luck of the draw. Regardless, what we do with the lessons we learn and comprehend, or don't, define us as one of two kinds of people, victim or survivor. As everybody knows, Connor and I love politics, but nothing rivals the real-life stories we encounter along the way, and quite frankly hope to showcase more frequently in the future here on Dueling Dialogues. What are we most fascinated by? Well, people that rise above adversity and thrive personally and professionally. Today, as we said before, in studio, all the way from Fort Worth, Texas, we have author and celebrity hairstylist David Blackstock.
Hello, how are you today?
Great.
Wonderful.
So excited to have you down here in the Ozarks.
It's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
So let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
After all, every story starts at the beginning. David, where did you begin?
I began in Texas in a trailer park. I was born and raised in trailer parks. I didn't live in a real house until I met my first boyfriend and moved into an apartment. So I'm truly trailer park trash with a little bit of class thrown in there, hopefully. But I'm very proud of that. I believe that no matter where you're from or what you come from, you should always be proud of who you are. Mm-hmm. And I'm proud to say that I was raised in a trailer park, and I made my dreams come true through that.
Absolutely.
And I'm a Texan on top of that, so that gives you a little bit of an extra push.
Don't mess with Texas.
Don't mess with Texas, especially if you're from a trailer park.
And you did it in a big way, right?
I tried to. In my world, I had very humble dreams growing up. And if I'd have known my dreams were going to come true, then I would have probably dreamt a little bit bigger. But for the dreams that I had, it was a big deal for me.
That's awesome. You know, the human condition is often amazing. Survivors are often steered back into a situation that mirrors in some way their original demise. For the strong, it seems they are actually just trying to get it right. David, do you feel there is a correlation between your chaotic childhood with your mom and the career that has you so up close and personal with women?
Well, I was raised around women, but I was also raised around men. My family both came from humble beginnings. My father's family came from a very backwoodsy little community called Goat Neck. And my mother came from a small town. So I was raised bouncing between going fishing and going hunting and hanging out with my dad and my uncles, and they would drink and I would drive the car for them while they were drinking, and I was like 10 years old. And then I would go back to my mother's trailer house and my stepdad, and I would have to take care of her because she was a prescription drug addict. And I think she did it to numb whatever pain she had. And I was the youngest out of three boys. She had three other sons, had her first kid when she was 16. Mm-hmm. And by the time she was 21, she had been married 2 times and had 3 boys. And I asked my brother one time, I said, you know, you were a lot older than me. So when I was born and you knew the situation that I was in, why didn't you come and get me? And he said, well, we were raised with the same mom that you were raised with. She took pills when we were kids also. And he said she had driven her other boys away from her. And she had you for one purpose and one purpose only, and that was to have something to love. And we were not going to go up at a 19-year-old or a 16-year-old and say, excuse me, we're going to take the only thing that you have left from you. And he said, so there was no alternative. You had to stay with Mom because...
So she adored you.
She adored me. My mother adored me. And I always knew my mother adored me. And like I said, she had her problems. And,
but may I interject something
sure.
here from what David has told me? His mother, even though she had her issues, Lord knows we all do, was a very strong woman.
Mm-hmm.
And she was very definite in her opinions. She didn't let anybody push her around.
So she self-medicated.
She taught David some very good values, even though she had her problems.
So she was functional.
She was functional.
Yeah.
But I mean, she didn't let anybody as a female push her around. And I think that David is drawn to women like that. He
Strong
respects
strong women.
strong
Yeah.
women.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, so I was my mother's keeper, and I just always had, and I always spent a lot of time in my bedroom. I would lock myself away and listen to Dolly Parton records and Tina Turner and all this because that was my escape, and I created a fantasy world. And when my mother passed away when I was 15, I realized that I was going to be able to have a life. I felt free. And I felt guilty. I came home after the funeral, and it was a couple of days later. I was sitting in the trailer house, and it was quiet. And I knew that I was not going to have to go through what I had been through with my mother, that it was over. And I could start living my life. It made me extremely sad, but I knew that basically I was 15 and I was on my own.
but relieved.
I was relieved, yeah. And that I could pursue anything that I wanted to pursue because I didn't have anybody telling me what to do because I was basically an unsupervised child because,
Right.
you know, the Blackstocks didn't want to have anything to do with me because they looked at me as a problem because of my mother and my father. And I knew none of my mother's brothers until I met them at my mother's funeral. So I was free to really live my dreams, and I had nothing to lose.
So did you just
very much on
stay
your
there
own.
at 15 by yourself?
I stayed with my stepfather, and my dad wanted me to come live with him, and I said, I'm not living with you. I said, you know, you would say I'm going to go get a carton of milk or whatever, and you'd be gone for a month and leave my mother and I with nothing and get evicted out of our trailer or wherever we were living. And my stepfather provided a stable home for me. And so I said, can I please stay with you until I become of age? And he said, well, son, I really don't have any legal boundary to you, but you're welcome to stay here with me. And so I did. My father agreed to it because he knew that I was going to run away from him. So.
Yeah. How scary, though.
Well, it was scary, but after what I had been through as a kid and with my mom and everything, I didn't think about it being scary. It was just something that...
Scary was his norm.
Yeah, scary was my norm. Exactly, Jennifer.
So did you have PTSD or anything like that when you were a kid?
I have some of it now. I think that my anxiety and my high blood pressure, I have panic attack. I hate to go to the doctor. My blood pressure will go up to 190 if I have to go to the doctor because I had spent so many times having to go to the emergency room with my mom. And I remember walking home one night from a Christmas party that the kids had in this little town. And I had lights on the trailer house. And my mother would plug the lights in, you know, and I would come home at night and the lights would be on. And one night I came home and those lights weren't on. And I started getting sick to my stomach because I knew that when I walked in there, it was not going to be good.
Right.
And sure enough, I walked in there and she had passed out and she had fallen out of the back door of the trailer house onto the ground and there was no step.
Oh, my.
And so I had to call an ambulance and they knew me by name, you know.
Sure.
And they had to come and get my mom. And I remember she didn't have on a top. She just had on a bra. And I remember dressing her a little bit so when the ambulance attendants got there that she would look somewhat presentable. And of course, then they just rip it all off because they have to do their thing. But, you know, but I just remember walking up to that trailer thinking, well, the lights are not on, so she's out of it because she didn't plug the lights in.
Wow.
So,
But now you love those bright lights.
now I love those bright lights. Yeah, exactly. Different kind of bright lights.
Different kind.
Those LEDs are really great now.
Oh, they are.
Isn't that great?
They are, but you
can
can't
like
buy
plug
them
in
for the wrong
15,000 of
light.
them
I I
not
learned
blow a breaker.
Sunday.
Yeah.
You can't buy them for a dimmer. You'll have an accident.
Yes.
Good to
Our
know.
lights started flashing off on Sunday because I tried to put the
Oh, did you?
LEDs in the dimmer.
Oh,
Yeah.
dear.
Yeah, a little safety thing there. So, talking about women.
Talking about women. that's my
Fabulous
life.
women.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of these fabulous women.
Well,
Besides Gennifer.
I think any woman can be fabulous. I think it's all up to
Oh,
them.
God, love
You're
you.
pretty
You know,
fabulous, Grace.
I do.
She's fabulous.
She's fabulous. I see fabulous women all day. One of the first fabulous women I ever met was the hairdresser that I'll talk about in that book. She was a young girl, and she was a hairdresser. And one day I was walking home from school, and she had on these tight blue jeans and a yellow little tank top type thing, and she had all this pretty brown hair and feathers in her ears, and she was driving a 280ZX.
Oh.
And I just thought she was the prettiest
Fancy.
thing I'd ever seen. And she had on those cork high heel shoes, remember, back in the 70s?
Oh, yeah.
And I thought she looked like a Charlie's Angel. And so I walked in there and I said, "Hi, my name's David." And she said, "Well, I'm Twala. Do you need a haircut?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Sure.
Touch me.
And boy, she said, "Well, okay." And I didn't even I didn't know how much money I had. And I said, "Well, how much is a haircut?" And she said, $12. Well, $12 in 1977 might as well have been $50.
Absolutely.
She said, "Well, let's cut your hair and you can pay me later." So she leaned me back in the shampoo bowl, and I had all this brown curly hair, and she started running those long fingernails
And
through my
boobies
hair
in your
and
face.
shampooing me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, this is really good.
This is awesome.
And so she put me in the chair and started cutting my hair, and she was listening to the Eagles. And then a couple of college guys came in, and they sat down, and then she got the blow dryer out with the bent brush and made me look like Barry Gibb. And from there on,
Oh, my God.
I was hooked. That was it. But I loved that atmosphere. I loved that
Yeah.
you just walked in there, and it's a whole different world.
Well, you know what? Woman doesn't like to go.
My mother
I mean,
had a hair
I
salon.
love Ty
Mhm.
Barnes does my hair. He's just one of my favorite people in the whole world.
Yeah.
I mean, I love him. I am loyal to him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even when he does something stupid like he did the other day, forgot to write down my appointment.
Oh,
Doesn't
no.
matter.
Yeah.
We love that person. We
Yeah.
tell that
Because they're
person
there for
things.
you.
You know?
And it's a very intimate thing.
And they
to do
touch
somebody's
you,
hair.
It is
and
an
it
intimate
is. It's intimate.
Especially with
It's a special
today's
relationship.
salon suites. You're in this small, intimate area. The
Yeah.
door is shut.
Yeah.
And it's just you and your client. And
Yeah.
at their most vulnerable, you're putting color on their hair, and you don't know if they've had a bad day or a good day. But the time that they're there, I want to make them feel good. And
Right.
I've got clients, God love them, that I started doing when they were in college. And now these girls are grown and got kids, and some of them live in Dallas, but they still come to me.
Let's
And
give
it's a
the name of
bond.
your book. Give the name of David's book. It's very good. And
Oh, yeah.
the
Yeah.
book.
it's an amazing.
Yeah, actually, that's mostly why we're here. The Insider's Guide to Earning 100K as a Self-Employed Salon Pro.
Yes, ma'am.
And
that's not
that's hard. I mean,
That's
we're
not
not.
necessarily owning your own salon either. That's
Mhm.
that's.
Well, I
that's
saw
doing business
it
in general.
as something that could be used in other businesses.
Yes.
I'll
yes.
tell you what most interested me is that economists say over and over again, making money in a business that caters to well-to-do people
Uh-huh.
is difficult.
Mhm.
More difficult than a business that caters to the middle class. How do you do it? I mean, they're not as loyal sometimes as the middle class, the elite. And you've certainly
Mm-hmm.
had the creme de la creme.
Yes. Well, on your daily clientele of wealthy women, the key is to find a wealthy woman who is down to earth.
That
That's
makes
the key.
sense.
David actually interviews people before they can become a client
I do sometimes.
to make
It's-
sure that the
It's like going out on a date. I
personalities-
want to make sure this is going to work before we invest any time in this,
That's a great idea.
But the wealthy, and I don't want to say wealthy, but the women of means that I've had come into me, the Fort Worth elite, which every town has,
Right.
the
Well, you're
foo-foo
out in
people.
Hollywood all the time too.
Yeah, but even the Hollywood people that I know, they're very down-to-earth people. And it's the shallow ones that I don't really click with. And I can see it, and I just sense it. But I think finding a woman who is secure with who she is, and she knows that all that social stuff is a bunch of bullshit, but she's going to play the game because that's her life.
Right.
But at the end of the day, she knows what's going on, and she doesn't buy into it. So those are
Excellent.
really a lot of the women. And it's the same thing with show business women, like Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers was
Exactly.
a working woman in show business.
And
a workaholic.
And when she would walk into a club to do her act or the Bass Hall in Fort Worth, Texas, it was her assistant, her, and one piece of luggage. And out of that one piece of luggage came all of her outfits, her dressing mirror, everything. She would unpack everything, set everything up, go out on stage, do her thing, come back, put everything in little Ziploc bags, all her clothes back into one suitcase, and walk out the stage door.
Oh my gosh.
Not a big entourage, not all these big clothing things. Everything went into Ziploc bags and one suitcase.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
And just like we were talking before, gosh, I miss her.
Yeah, she was a very sweet lady, very quiet in private and very soft-spoken. And but the rest of the time she was working, she would go into her whole spiel. So
you didn't expect to hear that she was so quiet?
No, I'm still a little astonished.
Yeah, she was very quiet. And when I would do her hair and she'd be going over her notes, she would say, "You have a very good touch. You allow me to work, but you don't disturb me." She said, "You're a very good hairdresser." And so she just knew little things to say to put you at ease. You know?
Oh, she was brilliant.
So which meant she cared.
Well, yeah, and she didn't miss a trick, did she? I mean, comedians, a lot of times, they notice everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she was, her act was very detailed.
It was.
Her monologue.
Yeah, I was in it.
Yeah.
Were you? Oh, my goodness. Tell us.
I can't remember the joke. Oh, I was honored.
Oh, absolutely.
She always found it interesting that Gennifer and I were best friends. She said, "Who else would a gay hairdresser have as a best friend besides Gennifer Flowers?"
Yeah.
You know? She said, "I love it that your best friend's a scandal queen. It's perfect."
Oh, I love it.
She said one day we were having lunch. She said, "Now your friend Gennifer, is she a good girl? Is she a good person?" I said, "She's a very good person."
Oh, for
I
sure.
said, "Jennifer's just somebody who followed her heart." And unfortunately, it was not the thing to do sometimes. But the reason she did it is because she is a good person. She's a very loving and caring person. And so Joan said, "So we like her a lot." And I said, "Yes, we like her a lot."
We do.
And she said, "Well, then I'll never say anything bad about her."
So.
And Anna Nicole. Remember Anna Nicole?
Oh, yeah.
Anna
Oh,
Nicole.
yeah. What a beautiful woman.
I didn't click with Anna Nicole.
You didn't?
No,
But
I thought I
she
would,
had
but I didn't.
She had that Marilyn Monroe beauty.
Only did her hair a few times at her house. I met her at a party, and she didn't live far from Ruta. And so we exchanged pleasantries and phone numbers and everything. But I was not flamboyant enough for Anna Nicole Smith. She liked very flamboyant people. Everybody around her had to be overly this and overly this. And I just wasn't that. I was too much of a Texan for her. I think I reminded her too much of where she came from. And then once she found out that my friend Mamie Van Dorn and I were very close, that pretty well sealed it. Because, you know, Anna was kind of a reproduction of what Mamie Van Dorn was. She was trying to be what Jane Mansfield was and Marilyn Monroe.
Absolutely.
Where Mamie Van Dorn was the real deal. And I think that kind of rubbed her a little way, not in the best ways, but I think it just didn't sit well with her.
Mamie is an interesting.
Yeah, Mamie Van Dorn is a very interesting woman.
She has an amazing history.
She does. Today's her birthday.
Oh,
87,
well, happy birthday.
and still a
87?
sex symbol.
She looks like she's 30.
And you still do her hair?
No, I haven't seen Mamie in a few years. We're still close. When Mamie's husband retired, she decided she was going to spend the rest of her life being his wife.
Oh,
And she told me
that's
one day
fabulous.
during lunch, she said, "When Thomas retires, you won't see me as much as you used to." And because I have to be a wife to my husband because he's let me be Mamie Van Dorn all these years. She said, "It's not that I don't love you, but it's time for me to be a wife for my husband who has supported me." And I miss her, but I understand.
Absolutely.
And but we used to meet for lunch, and we've done a few things. She used to come to the Thalians all the time, and I would be her date for the night. And then my friend Alan Mercer is her private photographer, and they worked a lot. And
so can I tell that story about David was visiting me in Las Vegas, and we drove over to have lunch with Mamie and Alan and Thomas. And we got there a little bit early, and Alan was doing a photo shoot with Mamie, and they were just finishing up. So we sat down on a couch and watched the remainder of the photo shoot and then to go to lunch. Now, Mamie is hot as a pistol. I mean, she's amazing. At her age, like I said, she looks like she's 30. Her skin is gorgeous. So we're watching, and she has this little tight suit on with this little hat with a veil. And, of course, Alan is the photographer. He's saying, oh, that's great, Mamie, you know, give me a little more sexy. Well, she just plopped her boob out. I didn't know if I was supposed to look or turn my head. I looked at David. I mean, it's not that I haven't seen a boob,
cute.
but I just felt a little awkward. I mean, she could have cared less. Yeah, we were sitting there.
Oh my gosh,
that's her today.
And they can
she is gorgeous.
She is gorgeous.
She is gorgeous for 40.
Yeah. I mean, she's amazing. She's amazing. And I love her.
Oh,
and
my
if you're
gosh.
listening to this, Mamie, we love you and happy birthday.
Yes, Mamie.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So much admiration for her and respect.
And getting back to strong women, Mamie's a very strong woman. She looks like a woman, but she thinks like a man. And she's taught me a lot, too. I mean, you know, but I'm attracted to strong women. I mean,
you certainly are. And what about Ruta Lee? She's your godmother?
Ruta Lee is my godmother. And I always, when I go to talk to young hairdressers, I always tell them that I have a really, really wonderful life, but I also have a real fairy godmother. And my fairy godmother lives in Hollywood in this big castle on top of a hill, and she made all my dreams come true. And so
that gave me chills.
Yeah, she makes all my dreams come true. And she did, and she still does today.
Now, how old is she?
Ruta is going to be, Jesus, she'd kill me, but she's going to be 83 on her birthday.
Okay.
And
she looks great.
Yeah, and she's beautiful. She looks great. But I have a very good relationship with her, too. She keeps me grounded. One day, she was at the house in Texas, and we were going to color her hair. And I said, well, let's go into the salon to color your hair, because I don't really like to do hair in my house. I don't like to I like to separate it. And she said, well, honey, we'll just do it here at the house. Yeah. And I said, no. Well, Tony, my husband, was looking at me like, you know, good luck on this. And so finally I said, well, get dressed and let's go to the salon. And she said, honey, let's just do it here at the house. Jesus, it's just us. And I said, well, I don't really like to do hair in my house. Oh, well, excuse me, Mr. Hollywood hairdresser. You don't like to do hair in your house. Please get over there and let's do my hair. So I wound up doing her hair in the kitchen, then over the sink. And, you know, but yeah, she'll bring me down real quick.
Oh my goodness.
But I love her. She's a great person.
And so you met Dolly. Did you do Dolly's hair before?
No, I've met Dolly. She's let me touch her hair up. Oh my her gosh. Hairdresser was there with us. But
yeah, I would just like to touch her hair.
I love it, but she let me have the honor of doing it because I told her it was my dream.
She's so darling.
She is truly a sweet, sweet person, and what you see is basically what you get just sitting with her. And I not one bad thing I think anybody can say about Dolly. She's just an outstanding person. I introduced her to my friend Ruth Buzzy. She had always wanted to meet Ruth Buzzy, and I said, well, I can bring her with me from Laugh-In. And she said, well, I've always wanted to meet Ruth Buzzy. She said, I just love her.
My dad adored her.
And so I brought her to the concert.
They live in Fort Worth, she and her husband.
Oh, okay.
The next weekend, because I do Ruth's hair. And Dolly was just so thrilled that I had brought Ruth Buzzy. And she told me, she said, I want to thank you for bringing Ruth to me because you gave me one of the best Christmas gifts as I got to meet somebody that I've never met. And she said, so thank you. So that meant so much to me that I was able to give her a little bit of a gift. And of course, Ruth loved her too. They were hilarious together.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, they were funny.
How cute.
Yeah.
And then Reba McEntire.
Reba McEntire, she married my cousin Narvel Blackstock, and they got divorced in 2015. It was his doing, and but Reba has gone on and has a good life. And Reba has just always kind of been a part of my life because Narvel
she
went
seems
to
like a rock. Is she a rock?
She's like a dude girl. You know, she's not like all huggy. She's like patting you on the back and you want something to drink, and she's not real lovey-dovey.
Right.
And I think that's why she's such a strong person, because she was raised on a ranch.
Yeah.
Well, now she's the KFC colonel now.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
Yeah, that is awesome. I really love that.
Well, it's quite a twist.
It's a twist,
That was
for everybody.
Some marketing person came up with a good idea.
Yeah, but I've always loved Reba, and we've always had a fairly good relationship. You know, I think she's always kind of kept. I think whenever celebrities get really, really big, I think they have to get to a point where they kind of have to fence off some of the family.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. And so I'm kind of
like
in that
winning the lottery.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that center line with her. She doesn't really nail me off a whole lot, but I have a little bit to do with her, a lot more than some of the Blackstocks do. And I think it's because of my career, and we kind of move in the same circles and everything. So she's always treated Tony and I with a lot of respect. And
excellent. Now, is her son still driving? Wasn't he driving a race car?
He's a race car driver, Shelby.
Yeah.
He's a race car driver. And she was very supportive of that. I think he went to college 1 year in Arizona and didn't like it.
Yeah. Well, as you can see over there, we have he's passed away. But
yes.
We have a race car driver in our family.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So that's always interests me. But I thought he was still racing. Now, I love Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
Get ready to go to Manhattan next month. I love it.
Yeah.
Done some hair there.
A little bit. My buddy Carol Channing, who I absolutely adore and love.
Oh, yeah.
She just turned 97,
Wow, these people live a long time.
They live a long time.
this.
John Rivers told me one time, honey, you've got to start meeting younger people or you're not going to have anything left.
Right.
But I'm not intrigued with younger celebrities. We have celebrities. We don't have movie stars anymore. And so I'm not interested in doing a Kim Kardashian or whoever. To me, they're just...
Kelly
that is
Clarkson.
different.
She's younger.
She's a younger person, but I just don't feel... I love old Hollywood glamour.
Oh, I do too.
I love old Hollywood glamour, and it's just that's something that's gone by the wayside. So, but I've had a good career. I got on the very end of old Hollywood, and I was telling Gennifer the other night that I was very fortunate because when I came into a lot of these ladies' lives, they weren't real busy. So, I told them, I love you, and I want to do your hair, and they said, oh, okay, well, you can.
So you really got to know them.
I really got to know them because they weren't busy doing certain things or making a lot of movies. So it was wonderful for me. And,
absolutely.
Yeah.
We were talking in the car on the way up here about Joan Collins.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
He did Joan's hair a few times, and her personality.
Yeah.
Interesting lady.
Yeah. I touched her hair up for her book signing one time off of La Cienega and something, and it was raining. We were in the back of a bookstore.
Oh, my
but she doesn't hug or kiss. Don't try to kiss her. She
doesn't.
Well, it's about the lipstick.
Yeah. Well, yeah. She's not real touchy-feely.
I get that.
And Stephanie Powers. I grew
oh
up
my
loving.
gosh.
And,
Heart to Heart was one of my favorites.
And her and Ruta are very good friends. And, sometimes I have to pinch myself that Stephanie Powers is sitting next to me at the dinner table and we're eating grilled chicken and asparagus together. And
how fabulous. Now, she had cancer.
She did.
She overcame it. She was
did.
Quite a smoker, wasn't she?
Yes.
At one time and got lung cancer.
And she survived.
Yeah.
She's another tough broad. I mean, she runs the William Holden Wildlife Preservation in I think it's in Africa.
Yeah. I read
and
that.
She still does that. She has a place in England. She has a place in Hollywood. So she's very active.
Yeah. And she never married, right?
Nope.
I met her at one of the Thalian organization is a charity that benefits mental health in Hollywood. And Ruta and Debbie Reynolds were the chairpersons of that for many, many years. Ruta would have a brunch after the ball. We would have a ball every year.
Right.
And at this brunch, Stephanie Powers was there with her mother.
Oh.
So I have a picture with my mother, Stephanie and her mother, which I treasure.
Oh, I bet.
It was very, very nice.
Yes.
I enjoyed meeting her.
She was so beautiful. I mean,
I
don't know. There was an unusual beauty about her in the 70s
Gray
and 80s.
Hair and
And she did sort of represent a feminism that was softer than we see now.
Yes. Yeah.
She was in charge. But, very female.
Very female.
Yeah. I loved her.
Yeah, she was great. Going back to the Thalians now, the Thalians help Operation Men, our soldiers in need. And so they've kind of shifted gears a little bit, and they did that while Debbie was still living. So Ruta is still, she's not heading it up anymore, but she's definitely involved in it and everything. So I just wanted to put that out in case Ruta's listening. She's going to know that dumb schmuck didn't say anything about Operation Men. So because our boys that come back, they get ignored because of the
something terrible. We're losing several each day to suicide.
Yeah, exactly.
PTSD is rampant, and no one's doing enough for them.
Yeah. Well,
Exactly.
Ruta and the Thalians out in Hollywood at the UCLA Medical Center is really trying to put a dent into it.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, back to your book.
Yes.
You wrote this book with Rob Sturgeon.
I did, Ron. He's
Ron,
a wonderful
okay.
guy. Yeah.
And Ron has a lot of business knowledge also, right?
Yeah, he had bigger dreams than me. He really went all out and achieved them, and he's an amazing man. I love him. He came to me. He has some salons, and with him being a businessman like he is, he was amazed by how many hairdressers could not build a business and pay their lease.
Yeah.
And so, he invited me one time to speak at an opening at his salon, and I met his girl Linda, and we kind of hit it off, and I started doing her hair, and then I got to know Ron better. And so he said, well, I want to do a book, and I want to do a book to help people, hairdressers, earn a living. And he says, hands down, you're the most successful hairdresser I've ever met. He said, so I want to do a book, and I want you to be a part of it, which I was very honored. So it took us about a year to do it. Yeah. And I suggested putting other people in it and everything. And the other wonderful hairdressers are in there. I picked up a few things from them, their tips and everything.
Yeah. But it does just have a lot to do with business.
It does.
You really could translate this
the beauty
into
industry
several
is a business, and I think a lot of times people forget that.
Well,
but you guys did not just,
Hard work.
I mean, it's almost like a workbook. I mean,
Yes.
it's very easy to read and to follow.
Yes.
It's not
Where can they find your book?
On Amazon.
Amazon?
Prime, you can download it.
And we will put a link to that.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Ron, thank you.
What's something you'd like for the listeners to take away about the book?
Well, and this is what I tell hairdressers is just because you don't own a hair salon doesn't mean you're not successful. And I owned a hair salon, and it wasn't my thing. I was not politically correct enough to own a business. And I had to learn that the hard way. When you have a lot of different personalities in a salon, not everybody can take strong language or whatever. And I wasn't willing to change. I stayed the same person that I was whenever I bought the salon when I became a business owner. And so that I had to learn that lesson the hard way. It was kind of a thorn in my side. And that's why I decided to let it go. And I was also going to go to work for Joan Rivers part-time because she had got to know me a little bit, and she knew Ruta, she knew Debbie. So she said, maybe 4 or 5 times a year you can go out with me. And I knew I couldn't do it owning that salon. And I wasn't happy, so I sold the salon and let it go because really my heart is with my clients and doing my little celebrity thing out in Hollywood and getting to meet movie stars. And it was never about owning a business. So that's why I'm so passionate about people going into a leasing situation, because you just don't need a big salon and you don't need a big area to work in. You just need something for you and your clients and your work ethics, and you can earn a good living.
And many of these hairdressers that are fabulous have salons. It is very hard to make it.
It is because
the taxes really, that's what I hear over and over again.
Yeah.
Taxes
Workers'
eat you
comp.
alive, all the insurances, and like you say, the turnover, you're constantly trying to fill that booth.
Because they're moving in and out.
Still, when it fails, they feel like failures. I mean, they really take it to heart.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad to see this, and I think there's certainly a huge market.
Well, David didn't fail in his salon.
I know he didn't, but a lot do.
A lot do.
Yes.
A lot are not,
No, I made the decision to
and he sold it.
to sell it and everything. I gave my hair.
Well, you needed flexibility to travel too, right?
Yeah, and it was beginning to interfere with that. I would be out there and my manager, Dana, would call me and say, well, such and such didn't turn the alarm on last night and didn't lock the door.
Always something.
It was always something, and I just didn't need it. I don't need to own a business to feel important.
Well, and I suspect not owning a salon, as far as personally, you can actually probably pocket more profits.
You can, because you're cutting out the middleman.
Exactly.
And that's what Ron and I were talking about. And that's why this book is. So you cut out the middleman and it doubles your income.
So if you love your hair person,
yeah.
you need to give them this book.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
That's my opinion.
But I will say this from firsthand experience with David. Now, David will be in his salon at 6 and 7 o'clock in the morning doing folks that need to have their hair done before work or an early event, and he'll be there that same day until 7 or 8 o'clock at night. He works hard.
Yeah, it is very hard work.
Ain't nothing easy anymore.
No, it's not.
If it's in a situation where you have the opportunity to make a decent amount of money. It's not easy.
No.
He works smart, and he does his marketing, and he does what he needs to do. It's all in the book.
It is.
And you've got so many ways for people to take advantage of Craigslist, Facebook. Those are cheap
advertising.
Exactly.
A lot of times they're free.
Yeah, they are. And what I tell young hairdressers is, and I don't know if I said it in that book or not. I wish I had. It's all going to come down to customer service. In what we're living in today, with all of Facebook and this, and you can order anything on television or you can order anything on your phone. It's going to come down with the hair industry and the food industry. Is going to be customer service, because you have to have good customer service, which concerns me with these young kids because they don't interact with each other. So they don't know how to be personable. So I don't know how that's going to work in the future with younger people. I see it in the salons today that they don't talk to their client. But you've got to have good customer service, right, Gennifer?
Absolutely.
You absolutely do.
There's not a machine that's going to do your hair on the horizon. I mean, you're still going to have to do something with your hands when you're doing somebody's hair. And you're going to have to listen to what that person wants, because 90% of client and hairdresser relationships that don't make it, it's the communication. Either the client is not communicating to the hairdresser what she wants, or the hairdresser's not listening to the client. So you've got to really listen and be in tune. And then after you know the person and you've been doing their hair for a while, then you can have a little wine and talk and do this and do that. But the first, I would say, 8 times you do somebody's hair, you really need to be in tune with them until you learn each other's personality.
Absolutely. I think that the lessons in this book, what you're talking about now, about customer service, what you're talking about in here would be appropriate for many types of businesses.
Yes.
You pointed that out earlier.
Absolutely.
But the only thing is that you really, in your business, I personally love customer service and to be pampered and feel special. But I want someone to know how to put this bleach on my hair, because they can smile all day. But if they don't know how to do it, it's not going to be pretty.
No, that's
I've
true.
been there.
That's true.
When David can't do it because he lives in Fort Worth and we're not able to get together all the time, it can be a disaster.
Well, and let's face it, not every hairdresser is as talented as the next.
You know what? It's a special. It's like anything. I mean, some
art.
Folks just have that art and that.
I want a hair artist.
Exactly.
Not really a hairdresser, but I can see where you're coming from too on these younger clients. Gennifer and I are from a time where we don't get caught out without our makeup on.
Yes.
And our hair done.
Yes.
These kids now, they're not like that. I don't know whether that's good or bad.
Well,
but it's different. And it's got to be different for somebody like you in your business.
And I've had to change. I always say I'm beginning to be the Cher of hairdressers, because I'm aging in a youth-driven industry. But what I have going on my side is common sense.
Right.
Like Cher. I mean, she's 71 years old and still performing today and keeping up with young people.
Exactly.
So if you don't have any common sense in anything that you do, you're never going to be successful.
That's true.
And being a hairdresser and working with celebrities kind of adds a little bit different element. When I first opened my salon, we were open 1 week. And Gennifer got an interview with Entertainment Tonight. She was living in New Orleans, and she had to be out there the next day. And so she called me that morning at 10:30 and said, "Baby, we got to go to L.A. tonight. I'm going to meet you in L.A. I need my hair done. We're going to do Entertainment Tonight in the morning at 7 a.m. So I called Tony, and I was at home. I said, "You need to throw me some clothes into a bag." I had my manager cancel my appointments for the next 2 days, and I finished up my appointments. Tony brought me my clothes, took me out to the airport. Entertainment Tonight had set up a plane for me, got on, flew out to Los Angeles. We met at the airport. The limousine driver picked me up first and then picked you up. And at 3:30 in the morning at the Beverly Hills Wearshar Hotel where
oh my gosh, the pretty woman was?
Yeah, we checked in and we're just both sitting there like, shit.
Absolutely, I would be.
So we went to bed, we slept 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
We got up, had a little bit of toast, did her hair. She was doing her makeup, got in the limousine, got out to Entertainment Tonight, finished up her hair, did the interview. And while we were in town, I wanted to see Ruta, so we went by Ruta's house in this big limousine. Ruta says, just a simple girl and her hairdresser pulling up in front of my house. Had lunch at Musso and Frank's, got on a plane, flew back to Texas, put her on a plane, and then I went home, got some sleep, and was back at my salon.
But he's done many of those with me, Oprah interview, many though over the years, many. And I've always been grateful to him because he is willing most of the time to drop things and come help me.
Oh, for sure.
And you have to take care of the celebrity. When you're a celebrity hairdresser and you're traveling with a celebrity, you're not just doing their hair and having martinis and, ordering food. You're the assistant, you're the tipper, you're the bodyguard, you're doing, I know that when we get on a plane that I'll walk behind her to take care of her. I put her on the inside seat. And, it's just little things that you have to do.
Right.
And if you get out of the limousine, I always try to get out first, then she gets out. Because you just don't know what's following some people, because you don't know what people has fixated on these celebrities.
Oh, yeah, we've talked a lot about that.
Yeah. Ironing clothes and doing this and putting a pin on the dress because the dress is, hanging down a little bit.
So that's invaluable.
Seriously.
Oh,
it is. It is. I used to, before my mother got sick, when I traveled for books, she came along, she's standing there ironing my clothes, she's doing what you're doing.
Yeah, and working in theater,
running around after me, and
with Ruta, and you just in between changes.
We all have him well trained.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Ruta would come in.
I say that in the nicest of ways.
Ruta would come in when we were doing Hello Dolly after wearing some of those heavy dresses in Hello Dolly.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
And as I'm doing her hair and the wardrobe person is doing, she's pulled her panties out, and I'm putting monkey powder down the front of her panties because she's sweating. I mean, you just think about these things. Then you put her back in the dress, and she goes out, and the audience has no idea that, all of that had just taken place.
Absolutely.
That's the fun part.
Seen us all very vulnerable.
Yeah, she's
always making it, do my corset or the cinch up or whatever, and we don't care. We'll walk around.
Yeah.
We run a hem without top on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And powder in our panties. I mean.
Well, and Ruta, when I'm at home with her, when we're in the dressing room working and everything, you just do what you have to do. You change clothes, you do whatever. But when I'm at home out in L.A. with her, and she's got on a robe or something, and she's in her dressing room, I always knock on the door, and I go, "Are you decent?" And she said, "Yes, honey, come in." And, and she'll do this. She'll be modest. And I said, "Well, I always make sure before I come in here." And she said, "Well, we're at home. We're not at work."
Right.
And that's the way you separate it.
Sure.
So let's tell her the funny story about being at Ruta's house in Palm Springs.
With Carol Channing?
No, just you and me.
Okay.
And we got naked and mooned the neighbors.
Oh, we did.
Of course, we were having a few drinks.
We're having a few drinks and out by the pool and everything. And,
it's
it's
up
beautiful.
On the hill. It's that older section of Palm Springs.
Yeah,
What's that called? It's where Elvis had a home with Frank Sinatra.
Right.
It's beautiful.
Movie Colony. It was called the Movie Colony.
And her home is sitting up, so it's looking out over several.
Yeah. So
I
so
said,
we
I
had
think,
a few
I
drinks.
think there are people down. We could see them down at their pool staring at us. So
yeah, we just had a little bit.
So you gave them a show.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're in Palm Springs under moonlight with Gennifer Flowers, I don't care who you are. That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah. The clothes
Drinking
are coming
a little
off.
champagne. Yeah, it's a good deal. If you want to hear a story about Carol Channing, I'll tell you the story. Ruta loves it. It's about when we did the photo shoot with her. And my friend Larry Ferguson, who's very good friends with Dolly Parton, was also good friends with Carol Channing.
He was Dottie Rambo's
He was
manager.
He was also
years.
Dottie Rambo's manager.
He was on the bus when they had the bad accident.
When they had this accident. Dottie Rambo was a big Christian
gospel singer.
Yeah, gospel. And so anyhow, whenever Larry approached Alan about doing this photo shoot for the album cover, he said, "Well, David is very good friends with Carol, and can we ask him to join us?" And I, yes. So Larry and I were big Dolly Parton friends, and poor Alan, all he listened to was us talk about Dolly Parton from LAX airport out to Palm Springs. I'd found like my soul brother. So we get to Carol's house the next day, and I had called Ruta, and I said, she was in Mexico, and I said, "Ruta, I'm out here doing a photo shoot, as you know, with Carol, and I was wondering, do you know a makeup artist that I could use for the photo shoot. And Ruta said, oh, honey, she's like Debbie and I. We do our own makeup. We know what we're supposed to look like. You just do her hair, and she'll take care of her makeup. And I said, well, okay, because Ruta said it, so it was true. So she's, get off the phone. She's down in Mexico. We get to Carol's house, and we're kind of, introducing ourselves. And Carol and I are talking about Ruta and Debbie. And her husband said, well, okay, let's get started, because they were going to a Super Bowl party. And so I had brought some eyelashes, because Larry said she would not wear eyelashes, that she doesn't wear a wig or eyelashes anymore. And I said, well, I'm going to take some of Ruta's eyelashes just in case, because she has to have eyelashes. So we get into her bedroom, and we're picking out what clothes we're going to use in these beautiful Bob Mackie dresses. And Carol's just kind of standing there, And so I said, well, I'll tell you what, why don't you go out and set up everything, Alan, and I'll get Carol dressed and get her hair done. So she says, go in there and get me some underwear, and we're going to get this corset on me. So we get everything on her, and, standing there, butt naked. And she said, oh, good, you know how to puddle my drawers to pull them up on me. She said, that's very theater of you. And I said, yes, ma'am. And so we go into the bathroom, and I said, well, where's your makeup, Carol? Why don't you go ahead and start your makeup, and then I'll do your hair. Oh, you're going to do my makeup. And I said, no. I said, I really want you to do your makeup. I said, because you know what you want to look like, because you know the Carol Channing character. And she said, oh, that's very sweet of you to say that, but you're going to do my makeup. And I thought, okay. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do her makeup. So I start looking around for makeup. I said, Carol, where's your makeup? Oh, I don't have any makeup, sweetheart. She said, when I do special appearances, they just do my makeup for me. My hand's not steady anymore. And I went, okay. So I'm in Carol Channing's house in Palm Springs, going to do this big photo shoot. And there's no freaking makeup.
Oh, my gosh.
And so I go in there and I tell Alan, I said, Alan, she don't have any makeup. And then he said, well, what are we going to do? I said, I don't know. So I go back into the bathroom with her, and, and she's just sitting there. She's gone into her professional mode.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to sit here and you're going to do your magic.
Right.
So I start pulling out drawers and looking. So I find one half thing of lipstick. I find some purple eyeshadow, and I find some mascara and a little bit of powder, and that's it.
Oh my gosh.
Not a brush, not a a little powder doohickey thing that you use to put the sponge on with. Well, I said, well, what am I going to do? And so I got to find something to put the makeup on. So I look underneath the counter, and she's got some maxi pads.
She's amazing in its own right.
So I get these maxi pads, and I start cutting them up in little squares. She said, are we getting close to starting? I said, and it wasn't that fun Carol Channing voice. This is like business Carol Channing. Yeah. We need to get to moving on this. I said, yes, ma'am. So I take that maxi pad, and I ever so lightly dab it into that powder and she closes her eyes, and I start patting this powder on her face with this maxi pad that I've cut up, and my hand is just kind of shaking.
What a great idea, though. Then
I go in and I get the lipstick, and I put a little bit on the palm of my hand, and I give her a little bit of rose, because I knew Alan could touch it up with the computer, that if we had something to work with. Yeah. So I'm touching this up, and she looks in the mirror, and she says to me, oh, you're doing a very natural look on me. I like it. I said, it's very natural, Carol. I said, we can go in and digitize what we want to add something. So I did a little bit of purple around her eyes, and then she put her lipstick on. And I said, okay, we got to do the eyelashes now. I don't wear eyelashes. And I was like, well, what do you mean you don't wear eyelashes anymore? They're too heavy on my eye. And I said, well, Carol, these are lightweight eyelashes. I said, these are lightweight. And they were Ruta's old eyelashes, that she had kept. And I said, please, I'm not wearing eyelashes. And I said, Carol, you have to wear these eyelashes. I said, because my dream is to do Carol Channing's makeup and her hair for this photo shoot. And if you do not wear these eyelashes, you will not be Carol Channing. And my dream will not come true.
Wow.
And she said, well, then we must wear the eyelashes. And I said, so she put these eyelashes on, just sets them right on her eyes. We get her in the dress, we get her hair done, and she was just magical. She got out there.
Do you have a picture on your phone?
I do. I'll find it.
Finish it.
And she got out there, and she said, what do you want me to do? And Alan said, just be Carol Channing. So she started doing all her iconic poses. And so when we were done with the photo shoot, I got into the bathroom with her and I was taking all of her garb off. And I said, well, let's take your eyelashes off. She goes, oh, no, I love these mink eyelashes that I'm wearing, these lightweights. I can wear these. She said, I will wear these to the Super Bowl party. I said, okay. And so that was my, and so I was so mad at Ruta. I called her and told her what had happened. And she said, honey, you're now the MacGyver of hair and makeup. Congratulations.
You are.
That was one of my favorite stories. But we made it work, and the photos were great.
You noticed the impression, the Carol Channing impression he does.
Well,
yeah, I do.
He
I
can
did.
also
Yeah.
do Bill Clinton.
Well, not really.
Well, when I least expect it, I hear the voice.
Yeah, I'll do
like,
something.
Oh, David.
Oh, my
Say,
goodness.
Gennifer, you want to go have a little dinner tonight?
Oh, that's perfect.
And Gennifer will look at me and go, now that's not funny. Now. And then if I go into Starbucks, this really aggravates her. My name is Clinton. My first name is Clinton. And so I'll have them put Clinton on the but it'll say, Clinton, your order's ready.
I said, I'm trying to be low key, David. Yeah. And they're yelling Clinton out in the room, and everybody's
I did it one night when we went out and had dinner, and they said, Clinton, your table's ready, Clinton. And Gennifer said, no, that's not funny, and you need to quit dinner. I said, well, that's my God-given name. She said, well, I don't care if it's your God-given name or not, and I don't do that anymore. But we have a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was funny.
So that was my Carol Channing story, but she's a wonderful lady. She calls me her spiritual son. She said, you are my spiritual son.
She's so sweet.
So sweet, yes.
So you have developed just all these fabulous relationships.
Yeah, the one person that I haven't done is Cher, and I'm going to get to her one of these days. I'm going to meet her this summer, I think.
You are?
With the help of Ruta. I think she's going to make a call for me.
Oh my God.
And Ruta says, mainly because I'm sick of hearing about the bitch. I'm going to get you to share. I don't care what we have to do. So, and if I do, I'll say, no, look, I know you don't need another hairdresser doing your hair, and I know that I probably will not impress you. But if you would allow me to just style your hair and to spend a little bit of time with you, I would appreciate it. And so would Ruta Lee, because she's sick of hearing about you. So you got nothing to lose when you talk to people.
No, you don't. You really don't.
And one other thing,
I think that's a lesson we can kind of take away from this
you got
also.
nothing to lose. I mean,
you never know till you try, and you don't know until you ask.
Yes. And another thing I'm going to add is, when you go to do a celebrity's hair, especially a celebrity that's been around for a little while, they've traveled the world, they've had their hair done, you better be on your game. You don't necessarily have to blow their dress up, but their hair needs to look on point.
Right.
Because these women have been around. They've had the best hairdressers, and here comes little Fort Worth David Blackstock in. So I never go in saying, oh, I'm really going to impress. I just want to do a good job for you and make you happy and hopefully have a great experience with you and walk away with a picture. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. I love the book. I said, I love that the book is it's not your memoir.
No, it's not.
Under the guise of a business plan.
Yes.
He has a plan.
I really hate it when it's all convoluted in one book,
Yes.
A memoir would be a good idea.
That would be fun.
But this is not the memoir.
No,
this is really a business plan. Like I said, if you love your hairdresser or you are a hairdresser, you need to have this book.
Absolutely.
Because this is about, like it says, retiring with a nest egg.
And like I said,
that's important.
That's important. I mean, you want to have a good time, but at the end of the party, you want to be able to go on and live life comfortably somewhat.
Exactly. And, there's a lot of hairdressers that sometimes they don't pay into Social Security and they don't do some of those things. And one day they're old or sick and they go, I have no benefits.
Nope. You're exactly right.
Exactly.
So this, a lot of people give their hairdressers gifts,
Yeah.
I'm even bad about that, taking, or good about that, whichever it is.
Yeah.
They need to take this.
Well, good. I love this industry, and I love being a part of it, and I love to see people do well in their career. Because I'm 51 now. I'm going to be 52 in April. I've had a very good career.
Well, you're just a babe.
Well, yeah, somewhat. But I wanted to leave something behind for this industry, no matter how minute it might be to help somebody.
Well, and that's the beauty of books.
I really want people to do well.
It is our legacy.
Yeah, I really want people to do well in this industry because you've got to give back to something that's been good to you. So,
for sure.
Yeah.
And it has been good to you.
It has been very good.
You've had a lot of fun.
Yeah. I have no complaints. If I dropped dead tomorrow, I would be a very happy man. I've had a very good life. Considering where I started and where I am today, as Ruta says, you're a freaking miracle. And,
and you're our survivor.
And he and Tony have been together for...
it'll be 30 years in October.
He and his partner, they are married.
We're married.
Get down.
Yeah, and I'm very, very, very happy. I've got the husband, I've got the house, I've got the 4 dogs, I've got everything that most people strive to get. And plus, I have a wonderful career, and a lot of my dreams have come true.
And still plenty of time to do Cher's hair.
Right.
Oh, yes. That's my thing. Matter of fact, I have a spot on my wall that's blank. And everybody will say, well, why don't you have something there? And I go, well, that's for Cher.
That's for Cher.
Because Dolly Parton told me after I did her hair, I said, well, my dream has come true now. And she said, well, you get you another dream. She said, because I do not want to be the reason that you stop dreaming. Because when you stop dreaming, you stop living.
Exactly.
And when you stop living, you get old. She said, so you get another dream and you pursue that. Even if you never achieve it, you're going to work towards it. And so that's what I did.
It's the journey.
It's the journey.
So once you do Cher, you got to find somebody else.
And it's very important how you handle the journey from beginning to end.
Yeah, because sometimes once you reach the goal, you realize, oh darn, the journey's over. So you got to create another journey.
You got to create another journey. Yeah. So.
Well, Grace, we got to agree to have David and Gennifer back sometimes.
We absolutely do. We're having Gennifer back next Monday.
Yes, I'll be here Monday.
So
I'll have to tune in.
Got lots of exciting things going.
Absolutely.
And
yes,
I think we can definitely agree on that.
Yes, I can't wait. I'm excited.
And we don't always agree, but life's a journey.
Yep.
And we're all in this together. Remember, do not become anybody's victim. #nobody's victim. Thanks for listening. Thanks to our guests. Godspeed. Godspeed to all of our friends out there.
Absolutely.
Godspeed, everyone, and thanks for listening.
Dueling Dialogues is brought to you by our affiliates at IX Web Hosting. Click the banner on the rightleftchronicles.com to get up to 40% off your first year of the best hosting on the planet. Today's episode of Dueling Dialogue is brought to you by Saucy Eva. Gma's Marinade is coming soon to a plate near you to gourmetize your meats and proteins.